everybody. Welcome back to the Real Pro Volleyball Fans podcast. This is Beck, your host. Let's dive in. We're finally here. We're back, ready to go. I do want to apologize to everybody because, as you know, I'm a mom. I am doing this podcast with my partner, and we have a toddler. It takes a little bit of time to create this content for you guys because sometimes it feels like the right moment to do it, and then this life comes into play. So I apologize in advance. I know we're already blazing through the second season, and there's so much to talk about. And there's just so many ideas that I had in mind that I wanted to go about for this podcast, and plans change. Life happens, but let's move on. We had the opportunity to get out and go to some exciting games this season and give us the energy to finally bring episode 5. I'm sure you heard the latest shakeup in women's pro volleyball. I mean, who hasn't? Just when we thought the court was full, another league has entered the game. Major League Volleyball coming in 2026, and volleyball fans are not feeling too thrilled about it because why? Why another league? We already have 2. Now it just feels overwhelming. Now it feels like there's too many people at the party. Is this even about pro volleyball anymore? Or is this about making money for you guys? I feel like all the rich people who are running the sport are kind of messing it up. I don't want to be too negative on it. I love being optimistic. Like, optimism's my thing, but this feels so heavy. But before we start throwing red cards, let's break it down. Why are fans frustrated? What does this mean for the future of the sport? Grab your knee pads because this episode might get a little rough. All right, let's rewind the tape. In the U.S., professional women's volleyball was a long time coming. But when Pro Volleyball Federation, PVF, made its debut, fans finally had something to rally behind. I mean, a year later, League One Volleyball joined the party with its hybrid club to pro model. So if you guys don't know or aren't familiar with that, League One Volleyball is a club, so younger girls can play. But it's kind of like these young girls can play and build up their skill and then become pros later within the same organization. It's a different dynamic than what the Pro Volleyball Federation is. And I know before the Pro Volleyball even came to be, I know they had Athletes Unlimited, but that wasn't really like an equivalent to like the NBA or like the NFL and stuff like I mentioned in my previous episodes. So these are all different scales. So now we have Major League Volleyball, the MLVB or the MLB, and it's gearing up for a 2026 launch. At a first glance, this might seem like a win for volleyball, right? More leagues, more opportunities, more visibility. But in reality, this isn't some perfect bump set spike moment. It's more like 3 players trying to call the same ball and ending up in a tangled mess. Fans are just like confused and they're exhausted. That brings me back to the question, like, why are fans even upset? What's the problem? Well, for starters, there's already a battle for talent, sponsors, and audience attention. Like, are we going to go on ESPN, watch League One Volleyball, or are we going to go on whatever other broadcasting networks there are that are streaming PVF? That includes YouTube. PVF got the ball rolling first. So with teams like the Omaha Supernovas and my very own Las Vegas Thrill bringing in legit excitement, Love Volleyball took a different approach, growing from grassroots club volleyball up to pros. And now Major League Volleyball jumping in, announcing its presence like an overzealous middle blocker, who just has to be part of the play. And then here's the kicker. They took Omaha Supernovas. Like, you just stole one of our players. Like, you can't just come in here like trying to make friends and expect us to like you. We're not going to do that. You just poached Omaha Supernovas straight from the PVF. That's showing up to a pickup game and calling dibs on someone else's jersey. Like, not exactly a smooth move, guys. But let's see. Let's take a look at what this means for the sport. Competition's great, but 3 separate leagues, that's not competition, that's just a little bit chaotic. So the biggest concern here is sustainability. The U.S. has struggled for decades to keep the Pro Volleyball League alive in the first place. They have tried and tried and tried over the years. It just wasn't successful. So the PBF being a thing last year, it felt so refreshing. You know, this was going to stand. I had a talk with the CEO, Jen Spiker, and she was so optimistic with like the future plans. They really thought this through and had the girls' best intentions at heart for like them as individuals, as athletes. So they just want to give them the best deals and make them money and give them the most opportunities. Like, they just seem like they really want to take care of these women. It feels wholesome, but this wholesome organization is gonna get kicked the boot because some rich volleyball player wants to have her own name and have people play on her league, you know? Now we got 3 volleyball leagues trying to call the ball at the same time. I don't like it. No me gusta, okay? But let's not forget, the fans are the heart of any sport. We just don't want a league, we want the league. One that unites the best players, draws consistent crowds, builds a long-lasting legacy. Right now, instead of setting each other up for success, these leagues are playing a game of who's got the better business plan. And if they're not careful, they all might end up getting blocked at the net, okay? Because that's just what happens, you know? Too much attention goes to one little thing, you're gonna break it. You're gonna break it. I don't want this to break. Selfishly, I like Pro Volleyball Federation. I like having a professional league. It gives us some personality. It gave us the biggest thrill, for crying out loud. Speaking of the biggest thrill, I know at the beginning of the season, their progress was looking super, super promising. I know they had a change in their coaching staff and they got some new players, but their coaching staff seemed to be such a magical trick for them, I swear, because they were in the top 2 along with Indy Ignite. And these girls were on fire. No matter what players they put in, like, they were beating some teams that they did not beat. It proved to be difficult for them last season to get over some of the top teams, and now they're just on fire, especially after that whole MLB announcement and the Supernovas leaving. They just kind of gave it back to them, you know, kind of like, this is our court, you know, this is our league, and they won in I think it was a five-set match. I'm not entirely sure. This was such a promising start, but unfortunately, they're kind of following back into their old patterns that they did last season. They were 2nd place, and now currently they're 6th place behind Grand Rapids, and they just kind of went down a losing streak again. I don't know what it is, but on the opposite side, Orlando is having such an amazing run. They've had, I think, like 7-8 winning streaks in a row, and they are on fire right now. They are the top of the PBF rankings currently, and they are kicking some butt. Let me tell you that. Indy Ignite's still doing pretty good. Omaha Supernovas are 2nd, Indy is 3rd, and then 4th is Atlanta. These are the current rankings, and hopefully the Vegas throw will get out of their rut again and something clicks. So we will see how the rest of the season goes on. So what happens next? Will one league take the lead, or are we headed for a long, drawn-out battle for dominance? Right now, fans are just trying to keep up, and honestly, we shouldn't have to work this hard to follow the sport that we love. But I do want to hear from you. What do you think about this 3rd league? Are you excited, skeptical, or just plain over it? Drop your thoughts in the comments below and let's talk about it. If you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to like, subscribe, and share with your fellow volleyball fans. We'll be back next time with more of the latest in pro volleyball. Until then, keep your serve strong and your opinion stronger. This has been Real Pro Volleyball Fans. Thank you. See you next time.